seeing this content on social media has the power to make you feel discontent about your own relationship. So I urge you to recognize that this is not reality. It's all fabricated to a certain degree. Think about what goes on behind the scenes of these kinds of videos. Jet has to plan and buy these expensive gifts, then he sets up a camera on a tripod, he arranges the gifts within view of the camera, he guides Pookie in with her eyes closed, and then ready, set, action, open your eyes. Oh my god, it's beautiful, I love it, thank you so much, you're the best husband ever, and cut. Edit it, post it, put it on TikTok. For what? For the consumption of others, for views, for engagement, for entertainment, and most importantly, money. Social media really has a way of making us feel like crap about everything in our lives. Our appearance, our house, our wealth, our clothes, and now our husbands. There are quite a few men who have risen to social media fame in recent years for doing these over-the-top, extravagant, grand gestures for their wives and families. I tend to call them like the perfect husbands or the super dads. And while at first impression these kinds of videos can be sweet, lovable, heartwarming, there are also some conversations to be had about the dark side or the unintended consequences of this kind of behavior being platformed and celebrated on social media. I'm a bit nervous for this video because I don't have a sense for how this is going to be received. I have not seen people really talk about this before. I did a bit of Googling and I couldn't really find any articles or Reddit threads or other YouTube commentary videos expressing the same concerns I'm having and sharing my opinions on what I'm seeing with these guys' videos. So I want to make it explicitly clear from the jump that my goal with this video today is not to hate on these guys, okay? Because objectively, there's not much to hate on. What I'm going to be showing you today is a bunch of guys doing really nice things for their families, like husbands cooking their wives elaborate meals, or dads doing really cool projects and building super awesome things for their kids, a husband setting up a surprise date night or getting his wife a really thoughtful gift. I would say overwhelmingly, most people see these videos as just great dads and husbands minding their own business, taking great care of their families, and you can't hate on that. So I'm not going to. That's not the goal here. My goal is rather to provide some context around what it is that you're seeing so that you can make an informed decision on how you're allowing that content to make you feel when you watch it. The comments are full of praise and comparison. Wow, you're such a great husband. I wish my husband did something like that. You're an amazing dad. My dad was never like this. You're setting the standard and I'm not settling for anything less than this in a husband. It seems like a lot of these commenters are comparing themselves and their situations and their relationships with the men in their lives to these TikTok dads and husbands without considering the drastically different circumstances surrounding their situations. And that's what this video is for, to pull back the curtain and hopefully give you a better understanding of what the purpose and motivation behind this kind of content is so that you can consume it responsibly, take it for what it is, and not compare yourself to it and not let it make you feel bad about yourself. I have a lot of examples to show you exactly what I'm talking about, but before we dive into it, I'd love to give a moment for today's sponsor, Hungry Root. Hungry Root is a grocery delivery service that I personally pay for. I've been a loyal customer of theirs for months, which is why I'm very excited to have them sponsor today's video because I love telling people about this. Hungry Root is like a meal kit, pre-made meal, and grocery delivery service all in one, and you get to customize it to exactly your needs each week. This week I customized my box to have some easy breakfast options, some snacks for my toddler, some high protein snacks for me and my husband, as well as some sweet treats, duh, of course. You can shop Hungry Root's online grocery store to fill in the gaps with whatever your family needs that week, but also they have pre-made meals and recipes as well. I got a Southwest burrito bowl and a couple Chili Verde breakfast burritos for some quick ready-to-eat options this week, and I also got ingredients to make 2 recipes. You can browse Hungry Root's selection of recipes and they'll send you all of the ingredients as well as a recipe card on how to put it all together, just like a meal kit. We had cheeseburgers one night as well as a pasta alla vodka recipe with basil and garlic ground chicken, and you can easily swap or remove ingredients. For example, I removed the cheese from the cheeseburger recipe because I already had some in the fridge and I used those credits towards toddler snacks instead. Everything is completely customizable, so one week you can get all recipes, the next week you could get all pre-made meals or just groceries. You give feedback about what you really enjoyed and then the smart cart will pre-fill your cart each week with recommendations tailored to what it knows you like. But as I keep saying, it's completely customizable, so you could keep all of the smart cart recommendations if you want, or you can keep none of them and you can add in only what your heart desires that week. Hungry Root has saved my sanity in this busy season season where I've been working a lot and we're also gearing up for our next big cross-country move for my husband's job. It's been so nice to not have to worry about that weekly grocery hassle, and it makes me wonder how I ever live without it. For a limited time, Hungry Root is offering 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. I always choose the almond chickpea cookie dough. To give Hungry Root a try, you can head to the link in the description box below or go to hungryroot.com and use code HANNAH. That's 40% off your first box plus a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com using code HANNAH. Thanks again, Hungry Root, for sponsoring today's video. We've got to kick this off with arguably TikTok's biggest dad account called DADS Social, run by a guy named Mason Smith. With 4.8 million followers and videos that consistently get hundreds of thousands to millions of views, there is a great chance that you have seen this guy's videos before. The algorithm loves him because his views and his viewer retention rate is extremely high. I don't personally follow him, but his videos pop up for me all the time because his social media strategy is on point. He's got the algorithm in the palm of his hand. His video format is usually to start out with text on the screen that says POV, you're a husband who, or POV, you're a dad who, fill in the blank of whatever project he's working on. I believe the most highly viewed video of his of all time is this one pinned to his account, and it has 108 million views. Can you even imagine? It says POV, you're a dad and this is all your daughter asked for Christmas, and it's a video of him building a miniature Polar Express train in his driveway. He connects 8 different hand trucks together, and then he builds 8 little train cars out of plywood on each one. Then he retrofits his riding lawnmower to look like a train engine. He paints everything, he adds lights, he adds seats, he creates this mini Polar Express to then drive through what looks like a little local parade of his. Does it get any cuter than that? Show me something more wholesome than a dad putting blood, sweat, and tears into building a mini train for his kids to bring joy to them and the local community. I mean, come on, you've got to respect it. It's adorable, it's creative, and the reason that his videos perform so well is because he hooks the viewer in immediately with that text that says POV, you're just a dad who, and it's a formula to get you to stop your scroll, to pay attention, to watch his video all the way through in amazement because you want to see how his project turns out. In algorithm terms, he has fantastic viewer retention, meaning that of the people that stumble on his videos, a significant percentage of those people stay watching a significant portion of the video, which is a really difficult skill to master in short form content. On things like Instagram Reels and TikTok, viewers decide within the first couple seconds of your video if they're gonna stay and watch or if they're gonna keep on scrolling. That's the first hurdle, capture people's attention. The second hurdle is to keep people watching your video as long as possible. You don't want them to get bored halfway through and keep on scrolling, so how do you keep their attention once you've captured it? But that's not an issue for DADS Social because every single one of his videos is a start to finish process. He's showing you every step of a project with the reward of a finished product at the end, so people stick around, they want to see it. They don't keep scrolling because they want that satisfaction of seeing where this is going. How is this going to turn out? And with DADS Social's account, the viewer is never disappointed. It's always worth sticking around for. It's always impressive and astounding. He puts a respectable amount of time and effort and energy into his content. It is worth it. Here are some rapid fire examples of his other content to give you an idea of what you can find on his account. This one says, POV, you're a dad and you promised your kids you'd make special Sunday pancakes. And it's him out in the snow making these very detailed bluey pancakes with perfectly color matched batter in these squeeze bottles, basically making pancake artwork. This takes so much skill and practice and patience. He makes it look really easy. It's not easy at all. This one says, you're a dad and your daughter asked if you could turn it into a real boat. And it's him taking a plastic toy boat and retrofitting it with extra flotation devices and a motor, and then he's testing it out in a nearby pond to make sure that it does function like a real boat. Here's one that says, POV, you're a dad and it's the last game of the season and he's making gifts for his daughter's soccer teammates. He busts out his Cricut machine and each one gets a personalized Stanley water tumbler, a bag of snacks, hair clips, and a flower. Here's one from Christmas time and it's him setting up an at-home date night where he rearranges the entire living room, he shoves the couches together to make it like a bed, and then he sets up all these snacks and decor and lights and like sets the mood. This one says, POV, the local bakery said that they could not make your daughter's birthday cake the way she wanted it. So it's just him casually making a 4 4-tier fondant-covered rainbow unicorn birthday cake like it's no big deal. POV, you're a dad and your kids asked if they could go camping alone, and he literally builds them a fully functional mini camper from scratch out of plywood, and he attaches it to the back of their electric toy Jeep so they can drive it around and go camping in it. Oh my god, it's so cute! It's so cute! Here's one where he turns their entire garage into a gym, but not only a gym for adults, it's for his kids too. They've got a ball pit, a climbing wall, a trampoline, and shortly after that video, he posts this video about how now they have nowhere to park their cars because their garage is now a gym, but that's okay. He'll just bust out his excavator, pour some concrete, and build an entire new parking structure by himself. He has hundreds of videos like this on his account. I'm convinced there is nothing this man can't do. He can cook, bake, decorate, craft, build. It's honestly incredibly impressive. He's very, very skilled. And the people in the comments are dumbfounded. They are flabbergasted. They don't know how to cope with what they're seeing. Overwhelmingly, the comments he receives on his videos are positive and supportive and in complete awe. They typically say something like, "You're dad of the year, you're the best dad ever, your wife is so lucky, your kids are so lucky," which are all extremely valid comments. This guy rarely receives hate, at least not that I could see, which makes sense. There's very little to hate on here. How can you get mad at a guy doing fun, thoughtful, creative, loving things for his family? You can't. But a trend I was noticing in his comment sections is that his content seems to be bringing up some strong emotional responses for some people. Some daddy issues, you could say. Here's some examples. "My dad don't even remember my birthday. I wish my father would care about me like this. They didn't make these types of dads when I was a kid. You're healing my inner child because I always imagined this is what a father would be like. I'm still waiting on a treehouse my dad promised me 16 years ago. Why can't my dad be like this?" Now this is a girl dad. I wish my dad had done things like that when I was little. My dad hasn't fixed our broken light switch in 10 years. Cries in poor, divorced, stressed, unstable, no quality time, judgy family. My dad won't even pay child support. Bro is literally putting the rest of us dads to shame. Seeing this man go above and beyond for his wife and kids is consequently making the viewers compare him to the men in their lives. As we can see from these comments, many people reflect on his content with the conclusion that their own dads didn't do enough. People watch this and go, well, this TikTok dad built his daughters a Polar Express and baked them a birthday cake from scratch. My dad couldn't even build me a treehouse. My dad doesn't even remember my birthday. The conclusion here for a lot of people is that by comparison, my dad is a bad dad. He's inadequate. I wish I could have had this guy for a dad instead of the dad I got. And you know what? Sometimes those feelings are valid and they're justified and they need to be worked through. But the trend of these comments is kind of exposing the dark side of this kind of content, the unintended consequence of seeing these super dads. Even though his videos are lighthearted and seemingly harmless, they do hold up a mirror for a lot of people to re-examine their own relationships with the men in their lives in a negative way. This goes for how women view their husbands too. There's a lot of comments in that realm as well. "This is so lovely. My husband burns water. My husband wants a medal when he turns the dishwasher on. I looked at my husband and sighed. He would never do this for my kids. That's why I divorced." And this guy's commenting something presumably directed towards his partner. He says, "Kelsey, if you see this, just keep scrolling. We don't have the garage space for it," in reference to the garage gym. Not only is this so sweet, but you're also secretly showing these girls to not settle for less. You've made these girls' day and made a core memory for them. He doesn't follow the standard, he is the standard. This man is the blueprint, extra points to his mama. This woman won the lottery. I pray for a husband and the father to my children to be like this. God, send me a husband that goes over and beyond like this. What I see here are a lot of women who are either feeling discontent with their own husbands after watching these kinds of videos, or other women who are using these videos as the standard of what they're going to be looking for in a life partner. And they're thinking, I'm not settling for less. If this isn't what my man gives me, then I don't want it. And this is where it all starts to fall apart for me. This kind of super dad content has always felt heartwarming and sweet to me at first, and then it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and for the longest time I could not pinpoint why. Like I keep saying, what is there to hate on? Basically nothing, so why am I feeling some type of way about it? I have a master list of influencer insanity topics. There's dozens of things on there, but I've had one bullet point on there for over a year now, and it just said over the top TikTok dads. And it just sat there, and I've never done anything with that video idea until now because it felt a little bit problematic to me, but I couldn't really figure out where that feeling was coming from, and it also felt like maybe I'm the only person out there who feels this way. Like I said, the comments on these kinds of videos are overwhelmingly positive. There are no other commentary creators who are talking about this topic to my knowledge, but recently it clicked for me. The icky feeling that I get from this content is what I'm calling the Prince Charming effect. The unrealistic expectation expectations and standards that this kind of content creates for women in regards to their own relationships with men. Women, especially young, impressionable ones in the dating scene currently looking for a life partner, might watch this kind of content and view these TikTok dads as their ideal man. We've all got a mental checklist of different qualities we want in a partner, right? Now imagine you're a young 20-something dating to find a husband, and now you've got things like must organize elaborate date nights for me, must be good at construction, must know how to bake a birthday cake for our future daughters, must be thoughtful and crafty enough to make personalized gifts for our kids' sports teams, to your mental checklist of the perfect husband. It's a recipe for disaster. Your expectations are through the roof. Just imagine the insane amount of pressure that puts on a woman to find this one in a million type of guy, and the amount of pressure that this puts on the guys to live up to the unrealistic expectations that women now have of them because of what they see with these TikTok super dads. This is the first generation where young people's ideas of a healthy relationship, a good marriage, good qualities to have in a partner are being shaped by what they see on social media. You're now getting a front row seat to everybody else's relationships, and of course you're going to compare yourself to that. I think an unintended but very real consequence of this super dad content is that it might create discontentment and disappointment in the relationships of others. Consuming this kind of content might make it hard to be appreciative of your own husband, or it might make it hard to see any of the guys you're dating as husband material because the idea of the perfect guy you've created in your head is so unrealistic. And the point I'm really getting to is that Dad Social's content and others like it is not real. It's not real life. It's not a true depiction of reality or what most husbands and fathers are capable of. It is real in the sense that this creator really is doing these things and his wife and kids are benefiting from it, but it's not real in the sense that most men have the time, the money, the resources to be replicating these behaviors, and it's not fair to hold them to those standards. And let me really quickly caveat that by saying it is absolutely appropriate to be holding men to the standards of things like caring for their families, spending quality time with their kids, doing thoughtful things for their wives, being a present and engaged husband and father, okay? But my point is, there are plenty of ways to do those things that don't involve these elaborate, grand, almost performative displays of affection like we see on social media. Take this for example. You might not realize that you've internalized these higher standards of your partner until Valentine's Day rolls around, and you kind of feel discontent with the flowers and the dinner reservations your husband made for you because it's not the flowers, chocolates, personalized sweatshirts and hats, cute little daddy-daughter date night, 150 red heart-shaped balloon photo backdrop Valentine's Day extravaganza this guy on TikTok put on for his wife and kids. This is what I mean when I say this is not real life and this is an unrealistic standard to be holding of the men in our lives. Showing your partner that you love and care for them is gonna look different in every single relationship. Seeing that somebody else's husband on the internet does more for them is a really quick way to steal your joy about what your husband does for you, and it's just not fair. Is what Dad Social did here amazing and beautiful and thoughtful? Yes, absolutely. But it's also content, it's fantasy, it's entertainment. It's also this guy's job. A lot of what he does is extremely expensive, and they are his tax-deductible business expenses. And this is where we start to expose what's going on behind the scenes of this kind of content. Even just the cost of all these materials and props alone is enough to make this unrealistic and unattainable for the average family. Everyday dads and husbands can't afford to treat their wives and kids like this on a daily basis, and that's just a fact. And so to ruin the illusion a little bit for you, the account Dad Social is a business. This content creator's full-time job is to conceptualize, plan, and execute these extravagant projects for the purpose of filming and posting it to social media that then generates revenue for his business. He then takes some of that revenue, reinvests it back into the business, buying even more props, more materials, going bigger, and blowing these projects even more outside the scope of reality for the sake of entertainment and views. The gifts that he put together for his daughter's soccer team cost approximately $450 to $500 when all is said and done. The Stanley Cups alone cost $350, plus the cricket supplies, the snacks, the hair clips, the packaging. We're talking hundreds of dollars for him to put this whole thing together. He might be the favorite soccer dad on the team, and that might be really great for his daughter, but the point is most families can't justify a cost like this. We don't got the time, we don't got the money, this is not going to be a reality for us. But for him, in his situation, because he's using all of these materials in a video that earns revenue for his business, he gets to write off all of this stuff as a business expense on his taxes. Same with the garage gym that was likely thousands of dollars. Same with all the construction equipment that he has on hand to be able to execute these elaborate projects. This is the most important context to consider when you're watching these kinds of videos. You might wonder, how do you have the time or the money to be able to afford all of this? And that's how. They start small, doing smaller projects, kind of part part-time on the side for fun, then these things start getting views. They start generating a revenue through social media. So then they take that revenue and they reinvest it back into the business. Now they can do bigger projects, more elaborate things. They can dedicate more time to it. It's becoming their full-time income now. The name of the game in social media is that you've got to keep viewers engaged. You've got to keep people watching. You've got to keep the algorithm happy. So they've got to keep upping the ante with more and more outrageous videos. And that's how we've ended up here. What you're watching is not somebody's real life. This is somebody with a very successful social media business who has achieved that success by filming himself doing nice things for his family. And that's an amazing setup for him, right? That's ideal. But please do not let this content make you feel bad that you can't afford to do things to the same caliber for your family, or that your husband isn't performing to the same level. And not just in terms of money, but in terms of time too. This is his full-time job. It's his job to do nice things for his family all day. These are not things that he's magically finding the time and money for outside of his traditional full-time job. His circumstances are drastically different than that of the average husband and father. Do you spend hours a day completing projects and filming and editing super dad content that you then post on social media, which generates an income that then allows you to continue creating more and more of that said content? No? Then stop comparing yourself to somebody in those circumstances. It's not a fair comparison. It's not fair to yourself. Circling back to some of the comments that I saw on Dad Social's account, there was one that simply said, "the Nara Smith of construction." And that is when it all clicked for me. I was like, oh my God, this is just the male version of Tradwives. Last year, I featured model and influencer Nara Smith in my video all about traditional wives, and we had a lot of discussion about gender roles and what it means to be a good wife, and how these women seem to have endless time on their hands to be cooking their family's meals from scratch all the time and stuff, and how at first glance, it doesn't seem like there's all that much wrong with that. But once you sit with the feelings of how that content makes you feel when you watch it, you realize that you're feeling inadequate. You're feeling like you're not doing enough, and you're falling into that comparison trap the same way that we're doing right here with the super dads. But then if you take a step back and you learn that being a social media tradwife is a business, and it's these women's jobs to play a certain fantasy role for viewer consumption and therefore revenue, then you understand that this is not real life and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to it anyway. TikTok super dads and tradwives are kind of like two sides of the same coin. Specifically, this account POV_husband is kind of like the male version of a tradwife. His content is also centered around these very extravagant meals that he prepares for his wife, but he does so with a pretty dry sense of humor to it, kind of like he's poking fun at himself in a way. This account is run by a guy named Daniel. He's got almost 1 million followers on TikTok, but he has 2.5 million followers on Instagram. He posted this video detailing how this account came to be, and essentially his job owning restaurants wasn't working out the way he had hoped. Money was tight. It was looking like he was going to have to go back to jobs in the corporate world, but he figured that a way that his family could start saving money is if they ate more at home, and what he could do is film the process of making everything at home from scratch and post it on Instagram sort of as like a side hustle. But as a result, his account grew to 1 million followers in just 7 months and quickly became their family's main source of income. And I love that he's so upfront and honest about that process, and I think that's great for him. That's an amazing achievement. I don't want to diminish that. I'm just saying that it's a good reality check for viewers to have that context when they're watching his videos, because the meals that we're seeing him cooking are not necessarily realistic. And you have to remember, it's his job to do this. It's his job to prepare the meals, to film it, to post about it. He's got much more time on his hands than the rest of us. Similar to Dad Social, his videos get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views on a regular basis, and his most viral video appears to be this one with 92.8 million views that says, "When wife wants to eat out at an overpriced steakhouse."
Tomahawk. Here's the dipping sauce. You have chimichurri, homemade ponzu, gochujang aioli, and garlic sesame dressing.
Shouldn't I get the salad first? Thank
There you go. Lobster mac and cheese.
Whoa. So good. Let me try. It's really good.
So again, you've got to respect the effort, the talent. There's a little bit of comedy in there. He's not taking himself too seriously, which makes it really entertaining. But what guy is cooking his wife a 4-course tableside dinner with lobster mac and cheese and a tomahawk steak, okay? It's not happening. It's not happening. No one's doing this. The only guys who are doing such a thing are those who are using it for content because it's their job. There was another video he posted of him inviting his mother and his mother-in-law over for dinner, and it was like a surf and turf situation, including a $1,000 Norwegian king crab and 8, count them, 8 tomahawk steaks, as well as caviar mashed potatoes. Again, so far outside the scope of reality. This is all for entertainment, and the cost of this food is a business expense for him. And that is something very interesting to note as well, that this account started very modest as a way to cook budget-friendly meals to save money. But what it's grown into is content that is nowhere near relatable anymore. Very similar to what happened with Dad Social's account too. He started very, very modest. This is one of his very first pancake videos, and it is heartwarmingly simple. He did what I'm sure many parents have done at some point and make little animal designs out of different sizes of circular pancakes, and his kids were thrilled. Nothing fancy, a simple batter, simple shapes. I kind of love that some of these are like almost half burnt as well. Now compare that video to the kind of pancakes he's making now. Out on the Blackstone, in the snow, squeeze bottles, different colored batter, extremely detailed and impressive. And that's what money, time, and practice will afford you when this content transforms into your full-time job. Same thing with POV Husband. He started out with very simple cooking videos. He would have his phone on like this neck apparatus thing so it looked like you actually were watching from his point of view. He would do cooking videos like chicken parmesan for dinner or breakfast with French toast, eggs, sausage, just like very normal, average, everyday, achievable things to make. And now he's transformed to doing these insane stunts like ordering a 140-pound bluefin tuna and having it delivered to his house and filleting it right there on the kitchen island, and also doing things like the $1,000 live Norwegian king crab and a whole rack of tomahawk steaks in the fridge. As these influencers grow, it's like they lose a sense of that relatability that helps them gain their audience in the first place. And as these accounts get bigger, they gain in popularity, the videos are pushed out to more people by the algorithm, then new viewers stumble on their content for the very first time at this place of unrelatability. I had never heard of the account POV Husband before until I was scrolling on Instagram Reels and the algorithm fed me this video of him cooking this crazy meal for his mom and mother-in-law. And my first thought was like, oh my God, what a ridiculous thing to do. Who has the time for this? Who has the money for this? My husband's never done anything like this for me before. And you start to kind of look at it like, wow, that's a really nice thing that he's doing. I want that. I wish people would do that for me. But you're not getting the origin story of his entire account with just this first video you see. You don't have the understanding that he started really small and it grew into his full-time job. And it's taken him a lot of time to grow his account to a level where he can pull this kind of thing off. And this is sort of what the content has resorted to as a result of trying to keep people engaged, keep people following, keep people watching. And it's ironic that his account started as a way for him to save money, but now his account is almost flaunting his wealth and boasting about the unrelatable culinary experience he can offer his family at home. But that's the natural evolution of things because again, this is entertainment. You have to keep people watching if you want to keep the cash flowing. It's a business strategy, which is why it's not something we should be expecting our own husbands to replicate. Switching gears here, this entire video we've talked about dads and husbands that go above and beyond, doing everything to an extravagant level. But what about the dads that are doing pretty much the bare minimum and still receiving similar levels of praise? Here's an account called Everything Dad on TikTok. He's got 2.8 million followers and he's a single dad of 4 kids. And all of his content surrounds how he manages being a single dad to 4 kids. And I just have to say, I have so much respect for single parents, especially those who have multiple children. It is a 24/7 full-time job that you never get to clock out of, and it pushes you to levels of mental exhaustion that you never knew possible. There's nothing that can prepare you for the demands of being a parent who can never pass the baton to somebody else, and who never has somebody there to relieve them or to share the workload. It's one of the most demanding and stressful positions you could possibly be in. And I can empathize with that situation because my husband's in the military and he left for a 6-month deployment on our daughter's first birthday of all days, and I parented her alone until she was 18 months old. And I moved to be closer to family and I had help, and it was still the hardest thing I've ever done. He was gone for a 2-week training a couple weeks ago. I was counting down the hours until he was home again. I respect the hell out of single parents because I genuinely do not know how they do it. They just do it because they don't have a choice. Me having a taste for what that feels like, they are superheroes in my mind. So anyway, Dylan, the man behind this Everything Dad account, is a single dad who posts videos like this. POV, POV, you're a single dad and you do your daughter's hair before school every day and it's just him brushing and styling his daughter's hair. POV, you're a single dad and it's Friday night and it's a video of him making baked potatoes and steaks for him and his 4 kids for dinner. Single dad of 4, Sunday reset, and he's doing things like wiping down the kitchen counters, doing dishes, vacuuming, breaking down boxes. Single dad of 4, grocery restock, where he's bringing in a bunch of Costco groceries and then putting them away in the pantry in these aesthetic containers. And here's some of the collective comments from the 4 videos I just showed you. Not too many dads like you. Yours are so lucky to have you. God bless. Yes, you are the best dad on TikTok. Such an amazing man and dad. This just healed a part of me. Oh man, what a blessing to be able to do that for your girls, and they are so blessed to have you. What a wonderful father he is. What a brilliant dad. Best dad. You're an amazing dad. My dad would just do crooked ponytails on each side of myself and my sister's hair. God, I can't believe that men like this exist. He knows how to work, cook, wash, clean, be an exemplary father. He is wonderful. Just unreal. Every compliment. These are almost identical comments to the kind that Dad Social receives on his video building a Polar Express train in his driveway, okay? But in this case, Everything Dad is just posting videos of himself making dinner, putting away groceries, tidying up the house. And it just makes you wonder why. Why are men being praised for doing the most basic, bare minimum tasks that being a parent requires? I'm just gonna come out and say what we're all thinking. You would never, ever see a single mom receiving this much praise for doing these same simple tasks. Stay-at-home moms, single moms, they do these things every day for their families, for years, for decades, and no one bats an eye because it's expected of them. But a man films himself grilling a few steaks on a Friday night and feeding his kids, and all of a sudden he is, oh yes, quote, the best dad on TikTok. He has built a platform of almost 3 million people based on doing these very basic parenting tasks that mothers do every single day without any thanks at all, and in fact are ridiculed for posting nearly identical content. Here's a reminder of what Everything Dad's Costco haul looked like. He sets all the groceries on the center island in his kitchen, then he wipes out the inside of his fridge, he puts the groceries away. He's got things like brown eggs, frozen seafood, fruit, some produce, some yogurt, kid snacks that he puts into these acrylic organizers in the pantry, and he's also got 2 cases of bottled water. His top comments on this video look like this. I'm in awe that these young men do all of this. My husband of 52 years asked me if we had a broom the other day. Love that he keeps a clean and nicely organized home. Amazing father. Wait, there's a man out there in the world that does things like I do and keeps his house just as clean? I think I just fainted. I'm not alone out here. I don't get why you ended up being single. Thank you for taking care of your kids. You are a blessing. He even cleans the fridge. Now, here is essentially the exact same video from a female creator with the username Carissa Cleans It All. It has the exact same flow. She puts all of her Costco groceries on the center island in her kitchen, then she deep cleans her fridge, and she puts away very similar groceries like brown eggs, produce, yogurt, bottled water, and snacks for the kids in the pantry. Would you like to guess what the top comments look like on this video? Stop using plastic water bottles. There is no nutritional difference between brown and white eggs. Everything is in plastic. Glass is a good alternative and better for health to save our planet. Okay, but what's for dinner? Like veggies and stuff. USA has so much processed food and the packaging is so much. I hope you're tipping appropriately because she got her groceries delivered through Costco delivery. This actually makes me see red. It is infuriating. Like I'm bubbling up inside with rage. There's of course a lot of positive comments on Carissa's video too, but there are disproportionately way more negative critical comments on this kind of video from a female creator than there are on a video of a man doing the exact same thing. So why is that? It's obviously rooted in traditional gender roles and the idea that the woman is to stay home and to care for the house and to care for the kids and to do all of these tasks without expecting any thanks, and the man is out of the home, he's working to provide, and the two do not have overlapping responsibilities. They each stay in their own lane. So it is kind of jarring to see that overlap, to see a man doing a woman's job of putting away the groceries. But also I think there's a factor to this where the number of dad influencers are greatly outnumbered by the number of mommy influencers. It's normalized to see women doing these things, both in real life with our own eyes, but also on social media because there are so many female influencers. This is just any other day. We see things like this all the time and it's easy to get picked apart for that. But for every 100 videos of a woman doing these things, you come across one video of a man doing it, and it sticks out. And it's not to say that men don't contribute in these ways to the home on a regular basis in their real lives. It's just really rare to see men documenting themselves doing it. The world of influencing is dominated by women, obviously, and the small portion of male influencers that you do see typically consist of those in like the fitness, finance, or travel niches. You don't really see that many people fitting into the homemaking niche. So when you do, it draws attention and praise and followers because it's such an unusual thing to be seeing. And because of that, people are quick to be impressed and supportive of that, even if what they're doing isn't even remotely impressive. And just to clarify, I don't think that men should be receiving less praise for being good fathers. I think it's great to praise them, to celebrate them, to recognize the hard work they're doing. I just think that women should be praised more for being good moms to keep it proportional. I don't think the solution is to stop recognizing the hard work of dads to bring them down to the women's level of unappreciation. I just think we should be building women up and recognizing them with the same level of positivity that men are given for doing the same tasks. Because at the end of the day, managing the home, cooking meals, making sure that your kids are happy and healthy and thriving, yes, these are the bare minimum requirements of being a parent, but they're also really difficult. It's extremely hard work, it's unrelenting, it's unforgiving, and it's also unrecognized. We could all be better about encouraging that good, honest work, whether it comes from a mom or a dad. And switching gears here once more, in this video we focused on perfect dads and how they're given so much praise for the things they do for their kids. But when we think about the Prince Charming effect as a whole, there are also influencers whose whole shtick is to romanticize the perfect man, the perfect life partner. And there is no better example of this than Jet and Pookie. More specifically, the influencer Campbell Puckett, who has 1.5 million TikTok followers, who is married to a man named Jet, and Jet's pet name for her is Pookie. Recently, they've had their first child, so their content is kind of transitioning into that perfect family super dad content. But before that, it was mostly centered around how Jet treats Pookie like the queen of the world, spoiling her with things like lavish vacations, handbags, jewelry. And they rose in popularity for these videos where they would get dressed for date night, they would set up the camera, and then Jet would praise Campbell's appearance and her style, and his signature line would always be like, Pookie is looking absolutely fire tonight.
And I gotta say, Pookie looks absolutely fire tonight.
Campbell is a full-time influencer and Jet is a businessman, and it's apparent from their videos that they're pretty wealthy. And it's this combination of wealth and also Jet's way of idolizing and worshiping and showering his partner with compliments all the time and extravagant gifts that viewers are attracted to. They're kind of living out the fantasy that one day a rich man is gonna sweep you off your feet and give you the princess fairy tale lifestyle you've always wanted. As the story goes, Jet spotted Campbell from across the room at a wine bar. He approached her, they hit it off instantly, and they rode into the sunset. The rest is history. And the cornerstone of their content is all about how well Jet treats her. Here's some examples of the extravagant gifts he's gotten her. This was a video they posted when Campbell hit 1 million followers.
Could not be more proud of you, and I want you to know how proud I am. So we've ordered a very special first course for Pookie. Dinner served, babe.
Oh my
Alright.
God.
It's the Cartier nail bracelet with some diamonds.
So cute.
Love you, babe.
The best.
Aww.
It's hard for me to tell from this video which size bracelet she got, but this Cartier bracelet is either $5,000 or $24,000. Obviously an extremely expensive gift to be getting anybody, let alone for something like hitting a certain number of followers on social media.
Alright, pregnant Pookie has been south of France on a girls trip for the last 7 days. I'm so excited for her to be home, and I want her to know how much I missed her. Pregnant Pookie, you can open your eyes. I cannot wait for the rest of our life together, and I cannot wait for our child. So it's a special Paris print. So that's Eiffel Tower, that's Arc de Triomphe. It's only seasonal. This print may never be made again. It's gonna say Pookie on it.
Best husband ever. The luckiest girl ever. This is too much. So cute.
This was a limited time print, you can't find it anymore, but this is the Dior Medium Lady Delight bag, and it's $5,400. Again, a really over-the-top gift to give somebody who just got back from vacation? Like, what's the point of this? I want a new designer handbag every time I come home from vacation, are you kidding me? It's just a little insane. Here's another example of a gift that he got Pookie before they went to the Tory Burch fashion show.
She's dressed by Tory Burch, we're going to the show, she's extremely excited, and I want her to know how proud I am. So here we go, Pookie.
Oh my God, I was not expecting anything, let alone something fun.
I got you the Cartier love ring as an early Valentine's Day present. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. Love you.
Thank you so much.
I can't tell exactly which version of the ring this is, but the Cartier love rings are typically between $2,000 and $5,000. And finally, here's one more over-the-top example.
Story time of the 2 surprises my husband gave me in Paris. I've always dreamed of owning a Birkin, but I didn't think it would happen so soon. He literally bought me a Birkin in New York and brought it to Paris and surprised me with it there. And I'm getting emotional just talking about it because it's seriously a dream and it's the sweetest thing ever, and I don't think I'll ever be over it. I just feel so grateful. And then the second surprise was that he wanted to get me a leather appointment at Hermes in Paris. And if you know, you know, it is so hard to get an appointment. So when we secured the appointment, I was literally in shock, and I was able to get a Kelly as well. And I have no words. I just feel like the luckiest girl in the world. Love you guys, and let me know if you want to hear how we got the appointment.
She got both a Birkin bag and a Kelly bag, and depending on the size, material, and style, these can range between $30,000 to $50,000 each. Each! Can you even imagine? The comments on this video in particular were less than favorable. They said, "Oh my God, I have no words for this level of materialism. Once my husband got me a purse from Target. I have trouble putting food on the table for my kids and gas in my car. I know I'm poor, but I just don't get the hype around luxury goods, especially this one. Talk about high maintenance." People were rubbed the wrong way by this video, rightfully so. These handbags are worth as much as a car in some circumstances. It's kind of sickening to see somebody carrying a handbag that would cover your family's grocery bills for several years. But it's worth pointing out that generally speaking, the comments Jet and Pookie get on most of their videos are positive and supportive, with people expressing their desire to find a man like Jet one day. This one says, "Pooks, you're winning at life, honestly. Jet is the ultimate hype man. We all need a Jet. More men like Jet. Jet is genuinely so kind. I want to be Pookie when I grow up. Is this too much to ask for? How do I get reincarnated as baby Pookie? I am manifesting a man like Jet in my life for real." I really can't think of a more perfect example to show you of what unrealistic standards of a relationship would look like. The likelihood that your husband or partner is going to be able to shower you with gifts of this caliber is extremely unlikely, because having this much money is extremely unlikely. Seeing this content on social media has the power to make you feel discontent about your own relationship, so I urge you to recognize that this is not reality. It's all fabricated to a certain degree. Think about what goes on behind the scenes of these kinds of videos. Jet has to plan and buy these expensive gifts, then he sets up a camera on a tripod, he arranges the gifts within view of the camera, he guides Pookie in with her eyes closed, and then ready, set, action, open your eyes. "Oh my God, it's beautiful, I love it, thank you so much, you're the best husband ever," and cut. Edit it, post it, put it on TikTok. For what? For the consumption of others, for views, for engagement, for entertainment, and most importantly, money. To a certain degree, these are characters they are playing and these are roles they are acting out. And there may be something genuine about it, right? It's hard for us as outsiders to know what's really going on inside the relationship behind closed doors. But the point is, these grand gestures and these extravagant gifts are planned with the viewer in mind. And it makes me wonder how much of this is genuine love and care for your partner and you just want to do something nice for them, and how much of it is for views, engagement, attention, money. I tend to believe that these husbands and dads on TikTok would not be doing these extravagant things if they weren't using it for content. It's almost like the purpose of surprising Pookie with a Dior bag is so that they can film it and make money on the views. Does your wife really need a multi-$1,000 handbag just because she returned home from vacation? No, absolutely not. But it makes for great content and it makes Jet seem like a really great husband, so let's do it. In the same way that I don't think that people like Mason from the Dad social account would be making a mini Polar Express train or a miniature camper or these extravagant date nights or personalized Stanley Cups for his kids' soccer team if he wasn't filming it in order to profit off of it. The motive behind all of these videos is money, because this is a social media business and this is how they earn revenue. And you know what? That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong, honestly, with making money from the content you put on the internet. That's literally my job too, okay? I can't hate on that. I just think it's important to have that transparency. quality and for viewers to understand fully what it is they're watching and why they're watching it. I say this all the time, but if you like these creators, if you enjoy watching their content, that is amazing. Keep doing it. Keep supporting them. I'm in no way suggesting that you should be boycotting any of these creators or revoking your support for them because they make money on their videos or whatever. And I'm also not insinuating that they're bad people, because after all, what they're posting is mostly harmless. It's just videos of them doing nice things for their kids and wives, okay? That's not a bad thing. I just want you to have that perspective of, wow, okay, that's a really great thing for them, but I'm watching it and I also understand that that life that they're showcasing is not really attainable for me because I don't have a social media business, so therefore I can't compare my life to someone who does. But I can watch this content, I can enjoy it, I can appreciate the entertainment aspect of it all without letting it make me feel bad about myself. And that is what I really want for viewers, for them to be able to discern what's real and what's not so that you can protect yourself from that comparison trap. And with that, my friends, it's everything I have for you for another episode of Influencer Insanity. As I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I feel like I'm stepping into uncharted territory. I have no idea how this video is going to be received or if anybody out there even agrees with me on this, but that's okay. I think there are a lot of discussions to be had and a lot of nuance to the situation, and undoubtedly there's things about it that I didn't consider as well. So please, please, please leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.